All right, here we go. It is the first edition of What Makes Amherstburg Great. My name's Nathan Carr. I'm with Richard Peddie, and What Makes Amherstburg Great, a brand new program here on 107.9 The Burg. Richard, tell us a bit about this great passion project.
Well, first of all, Nate, it's great to team up with you on this. We're going to be together a lot over the
We're going to have some fun.
So what is this project? So I've lived in Amherstburg for about 14 years. About 6 years ago, my wife said, we can help this town. So we opened the River Bookshop. And along the way, I've got quite involved in the community, opened more shops, got into the arts. And I started realizing that this town had lots of great things going for it. But like so much today, people want to dwell on the negatives, want to criticize. And I thought, geez, with all the wonderful things we have here, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it every week for a year.
And you know what? That is so true. Everybody is, in that negative zone sometimes. So you and I, Richard, we're gonna bring it out of them with What Makes Amherstburg Great. Why is this so important for listeners?
Well, because it's where they live. It's quality of life. They might have most of their money tied up in it. They want to be proud of it. They want it to be interesting. They want it to be safe. They want to live in a great place, and they do. But I just want to remind them, and I want to convince the naysayers. Not all of them, because you can never do it. But I want to bring the people on edge that say, you know what, maybe I should lighten it up a bit and celebrate this great town.
All right, shall we get to the first drum roll, please? The first What Makes Amherstburg Great highlight. It's Christ Church, and really a fascinating story and a town jewel. Tell me a bit about it.
Well, I think, again, I'm going to cover about 49, 50 projects. A number of them are going to be heritage. This is the only church I'm covering. It's got a fascinating story. So the story really starts around 1719, 18. There was a graveyard there. It was a graveyard for the soldiers at Fort Malden and for settlers. And in the War of 1812, we actually burned our own fort down because we'd lost the Battle of Lake Erie, and we did not want to leave it for the Americans, so we burned it down. Mm-hmm. We also they burnt down where they held their church services. So after the war, Lieutenant Colonel Caldwell actually gave land to the address you talked about for the church and gave them money to build a church. And that church was built in 1818 and 1819. So it's a very heritage church. It's the oldest active running church in town, but it's got more than a church, more than a very beautiful heritage church. It's also on that graveyard still. And the graveyard has, it's an army graveyard, but there's a lot of people buried there. And the stones are still there, but they're taking the stones that talk about the people buried there are now in the back against a wall to preserve them. So it's now got a beautiful church, a graveyard, and it's also got 12 beautiful stained glass windows. So this is this wonderful church that not enough people go to on Sundays and that should celebrate.
But it is important to note that it is right downtown. And can people just visit it?
I think it's, I go by it a lot. It's a huge parking lot. You can knock on the door. Churches are pretty open. I can't say they're open 24 hours. I've never asked the Reverend that. She would encourage you to come to her service on Sundays at 11. Her people are growing in number, but that's not for everyone. You should go walk these grounds. Go see the stained glass windows. It's quite spectacular.
Well, I can see your face light up, too, when you talk about the Reverend. And I know you're a big fan of Reverend Lisa Poltney. Tell me a little bit about why is she so great? Why are you so fascinated by her, Richard?
As I was on the Navy Yard Park one day at a concert, and I was introduced to this small woman with a clerical collar, and she had her hair tinted. I think it was purple. And I looked at her and I goes, almost immediately I liked her. And then as I got to know her, she's quite outspoken, and I just loved her values. She says her church is open and welcome to everyone and anyone. That always doesn't play well in a church congregation, but that's who she is. And I just admire someone who'll take a stand, and she's a wonderful person.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to be doing a lot of weeks of highlighting what makes Amherstburg great. What can listeners look forward to in the next one? Can I pull a little bit of hints out of you when it comes to finding out what we're going to be talking about next? What are we looking forward to in the future?
The next one's been around, I think, over 50 years. Came out in 1971. That's when it opened. today's youth have challenges. I grew up, and I think the biggest thing was I was worried about every once in a while getting beaten up by the high school bully.
Yeah.
And, you know, people smoke cigarettes. Think of what kids go through today with all that's going on in the world.
Social
the
pressures.
mental health, and then all exacerbated by social media. And this, my topic next time we get together, we'll be talking about the house, which has been around all that time and really involves kids and is doing a wonderful job with them.
Richard, I think we both know there are so many things that make Amherstburg great, and we look forward to sharing those stories with you each and every week. We are very happy to be partnered with you, and thank you so much for doing this episode.
Well, listen, I'm looking forward to working with you, and we've got a lot more to talk about.
We have a lot more to talk about right here on 107.9 The Burg.